Oh wow.
Right.
Good.
Awesome. All right. And then yeah, if everybody can mute themselves during the call, and then we'll do questions at the end. That way, if there's any background stuff at your place, it won't bleed into the chat. So yeah, so cool, man. We're so today I asked Tom to share some of his experience with us. Tom's been a member of the page, the Bromoil and Oil page for a while, and he's got some really cool work. I've really enjoyed looking at his stuff over the years. And he just did, or is currently doing an exhibition in Australia. What's the name of the town?
Lismore.
Lismore.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so was going to talk to him a little bit about kind of like how he got into Bromoil, how he put together this exhibition, and then also how he's doing some of these massive bromoils. Yeah, saw this. What is that? Like 4 foot by 3 foot or something?
Oh geez. Yeah. The good old imperial measurements, eh?
Oh,
Oh no. Oh, hold on. Yeah.
over a meter wide, 2 meters
It's around
almost.
a meter wide, yeah.
Yeah.
About a meter by 1.5, I reckon.
Mm. So yeah, massive bromoil. So let me see here real quick. I was gonna just share a few things here so that you can actually see some of his work. And if I can get this to work here. There we go. Where is his stuff? There it is. Tom Schulte. Um, okay. It's like relearning Zoom every time I do one of these calls. All right, cool. So
Whoa.
so here's a few of his images that he has right now in the exhibition. And the how large are these, Tom?
So most of the pieces are 16 by 20
Oh
inches.
wow. And
Most of them are.
these are on Ilford paper, right?
Correct, yeah. Ilford multigrade matte. So it's the
Yeah.
fiber-based paper, and it's just a matte finish. Um,
And I've seen
yeah.
some people do using the cool tone. Have you tried that before?
Not personally. I think it is the group where I've come across some posts. Some individuals seem to have tried it and have had some success, but
Mm-hmm.
it's for me, it's just one of those things. If it's not broken, why try to fix it? Yeah.
Right. Um, so let me see here.
Still have our issues every now and then, but
Yeah.
yeah, it keeps you on your toes.
What are some of the issues that are most common for you?
Um, I mean, I suppose that's a tough one. I don't think it'd be like a personal issue. I'm sure everyone would come across it. It could just be like as simple as chemicals not prepared right just during the processing stage, or not being careful with like the soaking times, or applying ink, or even taking the ink off.
Yeah.
Yeah, could be anything. Could be anything.
Austin, sorry, I don't know. We are not looking at the images, just the folder.
Oh, you're not seeing the images right now?
No.
But
Yeah.
just the small, the folder.
Oh, shoot. Okay, hold on.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Thank you for saying something. I wonder. Give me a second here. Still don't see it?
No, just the folder still.
Okay. Sorry about that. Let's see here.
It's difficult technology, isn't it?
Let me go back to,
Are you using two monitors?
I'm not, no.
There, we got it.
Hey,
Okay, cool. So there we go. Sorry, I was like zooming in and checking them out. So yeah, so these are some of the images from his current exhibition.
yep, all framed up.
All right, let's see. And then let me since this is being a pain, I didn't realize if you just have the folder open, you have to have the actual image open. I'm gonna bring up a short video that he posted on Instagram that just kind of like shows a little bit of his process. Let's see here. All right, here we go. So what's cool about that is that you're also can you hear me?
Yeah, he'd be fine.
Hold on. I'm having all kinds of problems here.
It's all right on our end.
Sorry, I can't hear you anymore now, Tom.
I
Hey,
can hear you
Dan, say
fine.
something real quick.
There
we go,
We
there we
can
go.
hear.
Sorry, okay. So yeah, so one of the things you can see that Tom's doing there is also staining all the images with you're using instant coffee, right?
I'll be the cheapest around.
That's awesome. So yeah, so just to kind of like back up, like how did you do you remember how you discovered Bromoil in the first place?
Sort of. I guess like anyone, you start off just with basic silver gelatin printing. You know, that's usually the first step, I suppose, if you're working with film photography and you're making prints. But I was kind of getting over it. I just got sick of silver gelatins in a way. I mean, the the possibilities in the darkroom's endless. You know, you can do all sorts of stuff in there. But yeah, I guess I just got sick of that just plain black and white look. And it kind of coincided with the same time I was getting over street photography as well. I used to like walking around in the city and just snapping away, trying to be discreet, you know, and that kind of stuff. But yeah, they just kind of coincided and just got bored of it. So yeah, started looking up on Google as usual, just, you know, being like, oh, what else is out there? Of course, I had some sort of an idea. There are alternative processes out there, simple ones being like cyanotypes or just being like, you know, gum bichromates and whatnot. And from there, it was a matter of what was the most accessible in terms of equipment and money, really. I didn't have the funds to get like a massive UV bed for anything like that, or I didn't have like printers that could do, what are they called, like acrylic sheets for transfers and stuff like that. I don't have pin registration machines, anything like that. So I was like, okay, I can buy ink, I can buy some brushes, I can buy some rollers, buy some extra chemicals, and I was good to go.
Yeah. So there wasn't like an artist that you just randomly stumbled upon that was your introduction to Bromoil. You actually kind of went out and were seeking your next process.
Yeah, not really. Yeah, I reckon you're online there with just seeking a new process.
Yeah. And who are some of your favorite, now that you've gotten into it, do you have some favorite Bromoil artists?
Look, the first one I came across was Misson,
Mhm.
and he's probably still up there as one of the favorites for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's just, I'm sure everyone agrees, they're just so delicate, and
Yeah.
but then again, they're moody, but the amount of detail he can pull out, or just, I don't know, they could be composite images, maybe some of them, but
Yeah.
yeah, stunning, stunning, stunning pieces.
Have you dabbled in media Brom at all?
I tried, but it was, yeah, I don't have the skills for it, I don't think, or the patience, actually.
Yeah. And then what
Yeah,
about,
he did a fair bit of the medium Brom, didn't he? Or didn't he invent it or something?
yeah, he did. Yeah, I think that's his invention.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Bit of oil and bit of ink, and
Yeah, I did it once and I was like, it didn't give me as much control as I was hoping for.
yeah, same. I agree.
Yeah. I really have a gut feeling that there's more to it than what we are being led to believe through the information that we currently have.
Mm.
It's unfortunate that he didn't write more and kind of publish what it was he was doing. Um, and then what about Australian bromoilists? Like, are there other like current or historical ones that you noticed?
I can't say I know of any historically. Actually, I reckon I did buy this book
Oh, uh-huh.
a while ago, and I think there might be some Aussies in here. But off the top of my head at the moment, I only know the two just through Instagram. I forgot their names. I believe one's on the west coast of Australia. And was it Ludwig? We were kind of bantering about on
Oh,
Facebook.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think he might dabble with Bromoils as well.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
there's a website that I found that's an Australian museum, and they have a good collection of different Australian bromoil artists. I'll share that in the group at some point so that y'all can take a look at that. Because I've been for the past couple of years, I've been trying to build up this list of like every historical bromoil artist and oil printer that I could find. Because now I'm kind of on a mission to write a book about like basically like a directory of bromoil artists, and because they all have these fascinating histories.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
And then
It was,
you're mainly shooting 35 mil, right?
35 only.
35 only.
35 only. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's awesome. And are you keen to any particular film within your workflow, or do you fluctuate?
No, I tend to use the same thing just so I can get a grasp on how it can handle, what can it handle, what can't it handle. At the moment, it's Ilford HP5. Before that, it was Foma 400, but that was quite difficult to control.
Mm.
So now it's HP5, and I'm finding it a lot better.
What issue were you finding with the FOMA?
The Foma, much like the many talk on the World Wide Web, apparently I found that Foma 400 acts more like a 200 speed film.
Mm.
If you just shot at a box speed, yeah, it tends to get a bit muddy, and you kind of lose detail in the shadows and whatnot, which is really not what you want for bromoils, I
Yeah,
guess. Yeah, so I was having quite a bit of difficulty, and finally made the switch to something that's a bit more versatile.
yeah. And then for ink, you're using graphic chemical, right?
Yep, 1796.
Yeah. And do you adjust it for stiffness? Do you have like two different?
No, never. I know some of the members in the group do, yeah, like add, what is it, beeswax or some other oils in there.
Yeah, you
to,
can
like,
do like beeswax or magnesium carbonate, which is basically like chalk dust type of.
yeah. Never dabbled in that.
Really? So just straight out of the can
Right
and
out of the can. Yeah. probably more of a patience thing again, I reckon.
Well, I mean, and what's cool to see is that, like, what, you know, in the video, we could see, like, you're just using whatever brush you can find. Like, there's
Pretty much. I mean, I do, when I'm buying them, I do kind of test it on my palm just to see if it kind of has that springiness to it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't want it too soft, but also don't want it too hard. So
Yeah.
yeah, I just go to the hardware store and just pick one there, like just kind of testing it on my palm all day, and yeah,
Yeah.
go from there.
That's awesome. And then in Australia, you don't have any bans on potassium dichromate?
No, but we do have to sign a form.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I mean, just from the supplier that I use, yeah, we have to sign a form and say what it's for, etc., etc.
It's in the US, it's still the Wild West. You just go and buy it online and you're good to go.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So I'm curious. Sorry, go ahead.
What about like is it hard to find like metol and hydroquinone and stuff like that?
I've never tried to buy the hydroquinone, but I think the metol, no problem.
No, we've got one supplier over here that supplies almost any chemical in the photographic market that you need.
Lucky.
And I buy a lot from those guys.
Yeah.
Have you ever bought from Artcraft Chemicals?
I have not. No, I was about to place an order with photographic formulary.
No, go check out Artcraft.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I'm gonna plug that in here.
I go through a ton of sodium thiosulfate, and he sells it in big jugs that I can get for a fairly cheap price. So he's got almost anything you need.
Sweet. And then Tom, so like, how did what's really cool is that you have an entire, like, it's a solo exhibit and it's just Bromoil. So curious to find out, like, how did that come to be?
I have actually initially I planned to do it next year in a different location. But I had just been toying with the idea. I never made any movements to actually make that, realize that idea. Haven't started even like talking to that particular gallery or anything. However, a friend of mine who lives out in Lismore, he decided to open the gallery, of course. And I suppose just to start off with, he invited a few of his friends to have a showing each month. And luckily, I was one of the people that he asked if I wanted to show, and kind of just went from there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then as you were putting it together, it was interesting to see, like, as you were, kind of getting everything ready, right? So you had your images, then you went to the framer and love the matting and the frame and everything that you have for those images. How did you go about, like, picking out what you got? Because we see so many Bromoils framed up in the traditional, right, white matte, black, museum style frame.
Like just a simple one of here.
Yep.
Just white.
And so, and on this one, you decided to go with, let me try to pull that up again.
Unfortunately, the colors on that images aren't too accurate, but it's close. I mean, just with the map board anyway.
Let me see here. I'm going to share my screen again, if I can figure it out. Here we go. So yeah, so the can y'all see that?
Yep.
Awesome.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, so you went with this, the mat seems like it was chosen based on the copy staining that you're doing.
Yep, basically.
Yeah. So just to make sure that this is rendering properly, that is kind of like a brown type of color. When I first saw it, I thought it looked kind of green, and then now it looks brown. So I'm wasn't sure how the color is being captured.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's been quite difficult to capture the matte board color correctly. It is in person more green than that reddish brown color.
Okay, gotcha.
Now, how we decided that was basically choosing something that was close to either the highlights or the shadows. It's anything that really complemented either one of them. And yeah, I mean, we tried all sorts of combinations, of course. We obviously did just a standard white matting and a black frame, or did the opposite, black matting, white frame, blah, blah, blah. But
Right.
yeah, this just looked the most appropriate, I think, particularly with the coffee stain prints. Just to like give it an extra flavor, I reckon. You're putting all that effort into making a print that you're happy with, you might as well just go all out and find a combination that suits your work well as well.
Right. So you're saying that the bromoils themselves have a bit of a green tint to them?
Yeah, that could just be my laziness in like getting the fixer off or the bleach off. But yeah, I found that even with the foamer paper that I was using before and the Ilford paper that I use now, I still get a tiny tint of green through the paper.
Huh. And are you fixing after bleaching?
Yes, yeah, plain
Okay.
hypo.
Because you do the like when you're printing, you do everything in one fell swoop, right? Like you
Right.
print, bleach, fix, and then all in one session. You don't
in one
do
session.
drying and then a bleaching.
No drying at all until the inking's done, pretty much.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. I see.
Yeah.
I've never gone that route. I think it's because I'm usually like, by the time I'm done printing, I'm kind of done for the day. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to just leave everything and I'll come back and I'll do bleaching in a separate session. But I'm interested to try it in one process. And then,
Yeah, I found that, I think I was doing that initially, but I was just thinking like, why can't it be sped up? And of course, when you go through those resources on bromoil.info or whatever, there's like other PDFs up there. And there's like, oh, you can't skip this step or you can't skip this step. And, you know, which is fair enough. They obviously have the experience and I'm just a total beginner. So I'm like, yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. We'll do that. But yeah, I mean, again, just a lack of patience, but also I found that it's difficult to come back to a matrix or something that hasn't even been bleached yet another day and then finding out that you screwed up at the very beginning. Like you're just wasting all that time if you do fuck up, really.
right.
So if you just go straight through and if it works, why not? I have all the time, just spend the whole day and smash it out.
Yeah. Nice. And then, was there like a specific theme for the exhibit?
No, just no. Just chose whatever photos that I liked, I think.
Yeah. But it pretty much all landscapes, right?
Yeah, really, it just comes down to what I like shooting, I think.
Yeah. Let me see here. And then anything that like now that is this your first like full Bromoil exhibition, or have you done this before? Second one?
Yeah.
Any words of wisdom, things that you've learned through these two exhibitions that you could share with us? I've never done an exhibition before, so
yeah, don't cut corners.
don't cut corners. What happened when you cut corners?
It bites you afterwards. You might not realize it, but it'll bite you after.
Yeah. Any certain examples you can give?
Yeah, like not being precise with measurements, or be like, oh, 2 minutes of fixing's enough instead of 4 minutes, or just even temperature shit as well.
So don't cut corners on your process.
Yeah, the processing just everywhere, really. you want a good negative to start off with. You don't want a dirty negative or anything like that, really. Just do everything kind of by the book. Even though you might have years of experience, I think things can still happen.
Yeah. And then what's been the response from people? Say, I'm sure there's a lot of people who are seeing Bromoil for the first time.
Yeah.
He's like, what's some of the feedback? Are some people loving it? Some people saying like, what's up with this grainy shit?
I think most of the people don't realize it's a photograph at the start.
Mhm.
Now, in the current show, I was recommended by a friend of mine to put up contact sheets as well, just around the room, which enforces the idea that it is, first of all, a photograph from film. Also, people can see like what happened through the roll and maybe how I was shooting if I was traveling around, if I was shooting 10 shots of one frame, one setting, or one shot, etc., etc. So yeah, a lot of people didn't know it was a photograph. And from those people, they would often comment that it looked like a charcoal drawing or even like a soft painting.
Yeah. I mean, that's the whole reason I think most of us do it, is aiming for that look.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I mean, yeah, and they're not wrong, of course. It certainly might be closer to how it looks. I guess like in the modern world, people just completely assume the photograph means like super sharp and saturated, and
Right.
so you zoom in and it's like 50 megapixels, this and that, like super duper that, whatever,
Right.
But yeah, they see something like that and they're like, oh, is that a painting? Is it a drawing? Is it this? Is it that? I'm like, no. Yeah, it's a photograph. And the negative is sharp, but you can manipulate a sharp negative into something soft and something that looks like a painting or a charcoal.
And you've gotten some sales from the exhibition, right?
Yes, just a couple so far.
Yeah, that's awesome though. Well, yeah, let me I'm gonna go ahead and do another screen share here, and we're gonna talk about the Big Daddy.
The big one. Yeah, I've got a little prototype here too.
Say that again.
I've got a little prototype here too.
Oh, nice. Okay, so everyone can see the screen again. Okay, cool. So this is the big one. We're just calling them murals, right?
Yeah, mural size, I suppose.
Yeah. So here's a short video that he put together that shows how he put together this beast. Bam. And then you had that one framed for the exhibition.
Yep, that's the one.
That's so cool.
The big one.
So lot of questions here. I'm going to try to fire through them real quick because I'm sure other people have questions.
I just measured it quickly. It's 3.5 foot by 4.5 foot, approximately.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you for speaking American.
I tried.
Awesome. So yeah, and we'll go back through the video kind of piece by piece here. First question I had, how did you choose the negative for this one?
Uh, whatever I thought would be the most impactful as a large print.
At that scale?
Yeah. I mean, there were a couple of other contenders, but I just thought that was probably the most powerful, I suppose, if it was printed right.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then, so let's take a look here. We'll keep going. So you got your
Not bad.
negative. So you bought a roll, right, of the Ilford paper so that you could
Yeah.
just cut it to size, right?
It's
Yeah, there.
50 inches wide.
Say that again?
It's 50 inches wide.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So that's pretty awesome. And then how long? 120
20 meters.
Man. So you still have some left?
A little bit. I went through a lot.
So
Lots of
that's another
prints.
great question. How many of these did you print, bleach, and ink up before getting to the one that you felt was a keeper?
The big one, I reckon I went through 6 or 7.
Wow.
Yeah. So around maybe a third to a half of the roll of the paper.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Lots of money spent.
Yeah. And this was all with the same negative each time?
Correct.
Yeah. So what were some of the issues that you were running into on those the first ones that didn't pan out?
First of all was again cutting corners. Like you do your test strips, of course. You do work out the highlights time there, you do your shadows time there, etc., etc. But I wasn't being precise enough. So the first couple of prints, I thought, oh yeah, these times look good, these times look good, and obviously it turned to shit. But then from there, the most common issue that popped up was contamination, unfortunately, from chems. Because basically processing this massive piece of paper, it's quite difficult to have a tray that's that big, particularly when your darkroom isn't as big as a tray width.
Right.
And like probably could have made it possible if I made a tray, but that would have been a bit of a hassle, I think. So I ended up buying a feed trough from an agricultural store.
Oh, I was wondering what that was.
Yeah, I thought about asking my plumbing mates if they had like big plumb pipes. But apparently they're a bit hard to find. So yeah, agricultural store, feed trough, the ones that farmers use to feed their cattle and sheep or whatever. And that was the tank or the trays, I suppose.
Right.
And just a bit of a roll process.
Right. That's
Is there a learning process to go through on how to process your print when you roll it up like that?
Yeah, you definitely don't want paper and paper coming in contact within the image area. It's a bit hard to tell, but so this is one of the dud ones, the tests. Might be a bit hard to tell, but yeah, there's some stripes. I don't know if you guys can see it. These stripes down here. So that's from rolling it up and processing, and it just kept getting scratched and scratched, I suppose, paper on paper, and that was one of the issues as well.
So how do you prevent that?
Just having excess paper down the ends. So when you're rolling it up, it's the blank area touching the blank area, and the imaged area is just left alone. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't follow.
It's,
I think that's my big question, Austin, is how do you actually go through the process of developing and washing your prints when you're working with something that big? And I've seen a couple of videos before. I think Ansel Adams put one out that shows how he did it, and he rolled it up and he used like a wallpaper tray. But doing normal prints, you're not dealing with having your paper in the chemicals in the water as long as we have to deal with it. So
Right.
It's pretty much the exact same process, really. You're just rolling it up instead of rocking the trays. And with regards,
Tom, do you have extended development? Because if you're developing only for 2 minutes, then you can't get one end in before the other.
yeah, it is extended a little bit, but it's kind of
Yeah.
ballpark as well. So yeah, at least 2 minutes, but then you can't really over dev anyway.
Yeah.
So that's okay. Yeah, luckily with, I suppose, bleach as well, you can't really over bleach, and fix is fix. So
let's talk about this enlarging process, man. This is what all are we looking at here with
that is the negative projected onto a wall. So I've rotated the enlarger head 90 degrees and it's projecting onto a wall. Of course, it's difficult to have something, projecting down that's that big.
right?
Yeah.
And then what are the black marks on the wall there?
The black marks, so you should be able to see along the corners of the image. That's where I've kind of taped up where the borders are, or the limit image area.
Yep.
So at least while the lights are off and while the enlarger's off, I know where to stick the paper.
Right. And then the
Yeah.
middle, is that just tape to hold it in place?
And the tapes in the middle's where I did the test strips.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So I knew where to place it each time.
So in this shot we're seeing right here, what are you doing?
That was a test strip, I think. I just have a piece of paper in front of me there, and I've got a piece of cardboard. And yeah, just doing those increments, I suppose. It's like moving the piece of cardboard down. So
Oh, I see what you're saying. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Nice. Anybody have any questions about the enlarging process here? Because this is mind-boggling to me. His test strips are the size of my prints.
Yeah, it's not bad for 35 mil, huh?
It's crazy that you've got 35. I mean, 35 millimeter to that size is wild, and it's inspiring because it's like it shows how far we can push 35 mil in bromoil.
okay,
Yeah.
so question, because I have a horizontal enlarger setup as well for my work.
Yep.
How far away is your enlarger from the wall on this image here? And how are you focusing it?
I'll have to just quickly translate it into the American terms. Let me one sec.
We can do the translation in meters.
Yeah.
About 10 foot, I suppose.
Wow. And do you have somebody help you focus the thing?
No, it's a lot of back and forth.
Okay.
Yeah. I tried using binoculars, but it didn't really help.
So that's a great idea. So that didn't work out.
No, it was a bit hard. I was like, yeah, dialing the focus, but I had binoculars up, it just didn't help. Yeah.
Man, yeah, I didn't think about that you got to go back and forth. And so you're just gonna.
That Austin, that's the big thing I have on my setup is that if I'm trying to blow the image up and do a part of it, and I have to get my camera set up farther away from the wall than I can reach and still have my grain focuser on the wall, it becomes a problem. So
yeah, exactly. That's why an assistant would be great sometimes.
That's awesome. So right here, these are the test strips that we're looking at.
Yep.
Nice.
About the size of an 8x10 sheet. Brox.
So hold on, I'm gonna go back here to this trough.
Yeah, that's the trough right there. And the thing is, that was the contamination source really, because I only had one trough and I could only fit one trough in there. So it was a matter of dev in, dev out, rinse, bleach in, bleach out, all in the one trough. So sure enough, they did get mixed up.
Right.
Yeah.
This is a great setup. This is at your house?
No, this is the photo lab that I actually work at, which I am here now.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So that's your day job?
It is my day job. Yeah, it's just, I mean, the processing and scanning of film, but we do have a dark room here. So that's what we use.
Awesome. So, and then how much chemistry are we talking about here? Like whenever you are developing or bleaching or fixing, like,
I think it was 5 liters.
oh, that's it?
Yeah, surprising. I know, I was surprised too. I thought I'd need like 10, 20, but
Yeah.
yeah, surprisingly, I only needed 5 liters.
Huh.
Just enough to have the bottom covered along the
Right.
trough.
Mm-hmm.
And because you're just circulating anyway, that was enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, I was thinking you were gonna say 20, 30 liters for
Yeah, luckily not. No, there's only a few.
awesome. And then did this just this trough came in a size that conveniently was close to what you were working with already?
Yeah. The length wise, I think it's actually made at around 6 foot wide,
Mm-hmm.
about 180 centimeters. So it's more than big enough for the piece of paper.
That's awesome.
And it's got a little drain plug on one end to it. So it's not in this video, but I actually have a stand for it. So once it's in the stand, you can just unscrew the plug and the solution comes out. So it's a bit easier that way.
Oh, that's great. That's all. So
Yeah.
it actually has a drain
Yeah.
that it came with. You didn't have to put that in?
No, it's installed. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool. And obviously we got our bleaching agents.
Finding the focus, bit of dodge and burn.
Yeah. So how did you feel about the dodging and burning process on something so big? Is it basically all your hands and your entire body?
Yeah, hands and big pieces of cardboard, basically.
Yeah.
The thing is, I'm sure a few of these people here would know if they've been doing like large format printing or just even large format shoots and printing 8x10s, is that usually bigger the print, kind of easier to do dodging and burns.
Yeah. Well, and what was, I mean, roughly, what was your exposure time with the unit 10 feet away? I mean, you're losing so much light at that distance.
I think it was, look, the highlights was probably around 3 minutes, but that was the highlights. I think the rest of the area was mainly around a minute. So it wasn't too bad.
Okay.
Yeah, luckily.
Awesome.
F5.6, so not fully, I mean, definitely not stopped down, but also not fully wide open. So
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Cool. So we've got, and then is this where the trough is on the stand?
So no, the trough is on the ground still because I broke the stand. So I ended up using the trough on the ground. That is just a sink. We usually use for just standard silver gelatin prints, and we put our trays on there. But yeah, I'll just use that to hose the print down.
Gotcha. So that's another interesting thing, right? So for the actual washing, the fix out of this fiber-based paper, you know, did you use hypoclear to clear it out and then wash it for, I mean, did you have to just like roll this thing in water for half an hour?
Yep. Yeah, it's a back-breaking process. Yeah, I'm still sore.
Wow, so you just kind of have to stand there and just keep rolling it until you feel that
Yeah,
you
and
get
you're
it
like,
properly
it's
washed.
sort of, and because it's the weird height, you're kind of like hunched over as well for half an hour, and your hands going back and forth.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty annoying, definitely, but I guess it was worth it in the end.
Nice. All right. So we got then hang to dry. We got
Yep.
the graphic chemical. So yeah, the full inking process. When you do inking, do you do it all in one session or do you like do it over multiple days?
99% of the time, one session.
One session.
Yeah.
So how many hours were you usually looking at with inking this bad boy?
For the big ones, I think one print took around 3-4 hours to even just get a grasp on if it was going well or not.
Oh wow. Man.
Yeah, so the first couple of mural sizes, I did just use the shaving brushes to spread out the ink at the start, but figured that I was going too slow. The paper was drying too quick.
Mm-hmm.
After that, I tried using a rubber roller and also a foam roller to distribute the ink. I thought it might be faster, but that was actually disastrous as well.
So like what we're watching right here where you're applying it with the roller.
Yeah, no, the roller here is more after I've put on ink via some brushes. So that's
Oh, so
just
you're saying that you there at one point you just started with the roller?
yeah, like the very initial inking.
Yeah.
Didn't
Why did
work.
that? Why was
Hi
that?
guys. So you were removing excess ink after your initial inking, right?
Um,
With the
yeah, I
roll.
suppose so. I mean, it's kind of like part of the process as well.
No, I think he's Thomas. I think he's saying that he did an attempt where he started by putting ink on the roller and using the roller to apply the initial coat of ink instead of a brush.
Yeah. Just because usually
Okay.
Bromoils, you do use brushes at the very beginning,
Mhm.
at least anyway.
Well, I use rollers to after my initial inking and then water bath. I use
Clears the
the
highlights.
rollers to pull off the excess ink, and it just makes it much faster.
Yeah. I employ that technique all the time. I read somewhere, it might have been a YouTube video, but I saw or read someone saying you can just use rollers from the get-go. You can kind of skip the brushes. And I was like, okay, might as well give it a go. It takes up more surface area, so I thought it'd be more suitable for these big prints, but yeah, it just didn't work. So I ended up resorting to sticking or just taping 3 shaving brushes together.
I love it.
Yeah, it just made it bigger, bigger surface.
That's awesome. Well, and I've seen someone in the past online, and her work was beautiful, and she was using this, like a house painting brush, so it was a very wide,
Right,
but thin, so it was only, like an inch thick, but it was
right.
probably 8 inches wide. And so that way she could do a very, wide application for larger
Yep.
prints. Which I was like, that's a brilliant way to go about doing a larger application because it
Yeah.
covers so much area.
hmm
Um,
Yeah, I realized the brushes are important.
yeah.
Definitely.
So right here, you're using the roller to apply ink, but where you want it really dark, I'm assuming, right?
Apply, but also distribute because.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Cool.
you do get quite sore and tired from just pounding your arms all the time.
I can only imagine, man. Like as I'm watching this, it makes my shoulder sore just watching it.
Just sitting on the floor would just kill me. Wow.
Oh yeah.
And then I see, I mean, just the detail work. What is this thing? Is this an eraser?
That is an eraser. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So yeah, love seeing the detail that you put into this, man, for such a large print. The work that went in and the fine detail that you did is really cool to see. I mean, yeah, like spotting, like I've never had to spot a bromoil before, but to see how like you're spotting it as well is really cool.
That's good, mate. That means you have clean eggs.
A question for you. Why did you work on the floor versus vertically like on an easel? Other than pouring.
I don't have an easel large enough.
Oh, you're toning with coffee here, huh?
Yeah, coffee.
So yeah, you got and you said that I can't remember if it was you or someone else that I was reading recently that talked about they experimented with all these different types of coffee and brew methods and all this stuff, and they found out that lo and behold, instant coffee was like the best process for steeping.
Yeah, I believe it's the matter of tannins that's in these solutions, whether that could be coffee or wine as well. So in the alternative, I think, film developing community, they would probably have a bit more knowledge with regards to that sort of stuff, particularly sustainable darkroom, I think, in the UK is pretty big on that sort of things. But yeah, it really does come down to usually cheaper the better for this sort of stuff.
It's interesting. And then once you spread this onto the print, how long does it sit there before you wash it off?
Very quick, like a minute.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've found that it can really bring up some nasty spots if it's on there for too long.
And is it regular like drinking dilution or is it concentrated?
It's wrong. It's about 50 grams to the liter.
Okay.
So a third of a jar to a liter.
Oh, a third of a jar to a liter. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's potent.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to drink it. Yeah. I mean, if you drank it, it'll give you the energy to make one of these prints.
Yeah, gives you the shoulder strength to get through this.
Just a sip.
So yeah, so we got that. We got the hanging process. I love the color, man. So cool. And then last question is the framing, right? So how do you frame this bad boy? Does it have glass? Is it open faced?
Yep, same glass, same wooden frame, but it's the guy I use for framing, they unfortunately can't make mat boards that go on top of the print for something that large. So there is matting behind the print, but it almost looks like a box frame or like a float frame?
Like a float mount.
Yeah, it's on some foam core.
Okay.
So there's a bit of a gap between the back,
right,
mat board, and the print itself. So it does look like a float.
So is it glued onto that board? Are you able to like remove it from that board later if you want to?
I think it's more mounted onto the foam with adhesives.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, I would love to see that one in person. And then you said, and so okay, so you've done all this. Would you do it again?
Not for a while, probably.
Is it the physical intensity of it?
It is, yeah, it really is. And I guess I still have a full-time job here, and I also had a couple other things that I was juggling at the same time. So yeah, it was just go every day. And like I said, this sort of show was originally planned for next year, so I did wanted to do it on my own pace. But when I was asked to have a show at this particular gallery in Lismore, it was quite short notice, but I thought I might as well just give it a shot anyway. Nice. So yeah, I need to rest. That's what I need, some rest.
It's well deserved, man. You and I mean the show looks amazing. The mural is super cool. And yeah, want to open it up to everybody else here. Any questions that y'all have? I mean, covered so much today. Tom's got so much stuff going on in between the creation, the framing, the exhibition, the mural. So yeah, this is y'all's chance to fire away any questions you have.
Tom, do you have temperature problems and humidity issues, or what?
I don't think about it at all.
Are you air conditioned, or do you keep your
Yep, aircon 24/7, never goes off in the lab. However, sorry, when you ask about temperature, is that more for like environmental solutions?
I'm thinking more of the ink, because if you're too hot, it's too runny, and if it's too cold, it's too thick.
Yeah, no, I mean, that is controlled. The temperature is certainly controlled here, and humidity as well. We have the aircon running 24/7.
Yeah.
So it's just constant.
The area you're in, is it high humidity or low humidity?
It's usually high.
High.
Most
Yeah.
of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Where I am in Colorado, it's very dry. So I get about 5 to 7 minutes of inking before I have to resubmerge back into the water, because it loses, it starts to curl and won't adhere. So I have to go through constant re-soaking because it's so dry here.
Geez, that's not that long, is it? 5 minutes, 7 minutes.
No, you got to move quick.
What's your average soak time for that print? I'm sorry I was late. My alarm, I forgot to set the sound on the alarm. So I missed the first part.
I don't have a soak time because I go through the process straight through. So
after your initial inking, you don't soak the image?
After the inking?
Yeah.
No, not usually.
Well, so you're saying that you apply, like you have a blank matrix, you go through and apply all the ink and do all the detail, and you never have to re-soak that paper a second time?
Usually not, no.
Wow.
Do you spray it?
I guess start working big.
Yeah, sometimes it's required, but usually not, no.
What about your 16 by 20s? Same thing?
Same thing, straight through, nothing.
Oh, wow. That's wild.
Which ink are you using?
It's got to be quick.
Very quick, man. That's awesome.
What ink are you using?
Graphic Chem 1796. Just the standard one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone else?
When you coffee tone, do you rinse after the coffee?
I do, yes.
Do a little rinse. Is that for long?
Just for a few minutes, really, just so you just keep rinsing until the water runs clear, I suppose, off the paper.
Did you put that back in the trough, or did you just hose it off on the floor?
Hose straight off, yeah. It was done outside, so just straight down the sink. Not the sink, the bloody manhole or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
What is your drive?
Sorry?
What was your thought of why you wanted to do it this big?
I'm sort of competitive. I saw someone I looked it up a couple of years ago. There's an article online, someone making the largest Bromoil print, and yeah, it's 106 centimeters by 170.
Who is that?
Someone called Greeley Haven. I've just looked it up on Google now.
Interesting.
And I thought, hey, that's a little bit smaller than the paper you can get from Ilford. Yeah, I was like, let's try and make the biggest one ever. And lo and behold, I don't have the space big enough to enlarge that big. So yeah, unfortunately, it's not the biggest. It probably could be the second biggest, but that's kind of why.
So someone has to dethrone Tom here and go just a few inches bigger.
Yeah,
I'm still.
I guess I missed this part, but how did you expose it? It was an enlargement, I take.
Correct. It's horizontal, so against the wall.
Yep, I did one like that just a couple of weeks ago. I got some really, really big prints.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it? It's good fun.
It was a challenge because you have to take readings everywhere just to make sure, because you don't want to blow this huge print. And I had to figure out where I had to dodge and burn. So there was a lot of little test prints.
Yeah, it's certainly not easy. That's for sure.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Well, I don't think I'll manage an oil print that big.
Just get a bigger roller, Pops.
I mean, that would be such a massive neg for a contact print, and that would introduce so many other issues, right? I mean, like how do you keep that perfectly, in contact throughout the entire thing?
Austin, I've got a friend coming by later today who did a platinum print that big.
Wow. So there's an exhibition actually down in Pueblo, Colorado that I'm going to go to with some friends in a couple of weeks. And it's platinum prints that are ridiculously huge. I think he's doing 6 foot wide. So I'll report back on that.
Photography for the wealthy who can afford the chemicals.
Oh my God, right? I mean, the pain of blowing an 8x10 platinum that you don't nail. Could you imagine a 6 foot wide? That's just heartbreaking.
Is it this guy?
No, he's Japanese.
Not him? It seems like he does some massive prints.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'll once I get out there, I'll probably do just like a short video talking about it, because it looks like it's going to be pretty cool. And there's a group of just like 4 or 5 of us here in Colorado that get together that all work in different alternative processes, just to commiserate on working in this type of process. Cool, man. Anybody else got any last questions before we wrap up?
I know I'm going to think of a bunch after. I guess I missed it, but this is a liquid emulsion. Which emulsion were you using?
No, this is Ilford paper.
Yeah, I'm not using liquid emulsion.
Oh, Ilford paper. Okay, fiber-based.
It's just this multigrade matte.
Oh, the same stuff I use. Yeah.
Yeah, it's working okay for me.
Yeah. You just got to not have a hardener in your fix, and then you're all set.
yeah, plain hypo.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, if nobody else has any more questions, we'll go ahead and wrap up so that Tom can get to bed for
bedtime.
Dude, thank you so much for.
Yeah, it's Monday tomorrow. I am bugging.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Back to work.
Well, dude, thank you so much for taking the time to kind of explain all of this. I've been fascinated kind of keeping up with what you've been doing for the past few months here, man. And it's great to finally chat with you.
Yeah. Nice to chat with you too, and everyone else too in the group. I hope
brave man, Tom.
It's morning in everyone else's time, so I hope everyone has a good day.
Yeah, you too. And
nice meeting you, Tom.
I'm going to go ahead and end the recording, but I'm not going to hop off here.